Welcome to Who Wants to Be an Entrepreneur with Nancy Gaskins, where we teach everyday people how to live a life worth smiling and talking about. And I believe one of the best ways to do that is become an entrepreneur. My name is Nancy Gaskins, and I am your host. All of our shows are recorded and archived so you can listen and learn online 24/7 all year long. You can find us on all your favorite social media channels like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, all your favorite podcast platforms. There's never been a better time than right now to consider owning and operating your own business. The current COVID crisis has really opened us up to a lot of people understanding, and their eyes are open because guess what? We were very vulnerable. We should not be relying on only one stream of income. With that said, home-based business opportunities and multiple streams of incomes are two of the very hot topics and the top Google searches right now. People are looking for options like never before. I decided to do something a little bit different this fall. And so what we're doing is I'm teaming up with a wide variety of everyday entrepreneurs from around the globe. We'll be discussing their entrepreneurial journeys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. These are real people just like you and me who've agreed to share their stories of hope and inspiration in order to encourage you, the listener, to follow your heart. And if you've ever been thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, guess what? Today might be your someday. It's not always sunshine and roses, mind you, nor can we promise that you're going to make $1 million, put $1 million in the bank. But for most of us, it's a lifestyle that is full of potential and possibilities. And there's no way to put a price tag on that. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Did you know that 48% of Americans have the dream to own and operate their own business? 51% who launch are over the age of 50. 69% start their businesses from home. And last but not least, the average startup is only $10,000. So what do those four statistics tell you? Tell you what it tells me. There's lots of opportunity out there. On today's episode, you're going to meet Mr. Dwayne Richards. I met Dwayne a while back at a virtual networking event, and I love the fact that he's kind of like me. I've met several that are kind of right brain, left brain people, and we kind of got it going on these days. So welcome aboard, Dwayne.
Thank you. And this is going to be fun. I don't know if you knew that. I used to have a podcast, and I used to be in your seat. I did it probably over 60 times, and then I stopped. So it's going to be fun to be on the other side of the mic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Dwayne is what we call an enlightened accountant. Dwayne offers a unique approach to finance that expertly meshes the practical and energetic side of money. Financial wellness incorporates so much more than just your bank account. Dwayne's approach connects mindset, goals, financial literacy, business, and wealth. His personal shift from uninspired, introverted accountant to introspective entrepreneur was a swift change. He'll be telling you all about that today. So, Dwayne, take a few minutes and share your story. How did you become an entrepreneur, and how did you get into your current business, and how on earth did you become the enlightened accountant?
Short one, right? Short. Short. All right. So actually, I did put this in the notes, but actually, it turns out when I did some reflecting, I was more entrepreneurial when I was really young. So when I was really young, living just here in Ontario, in Canada, I lived in a small town, like really small. And in the fall, actually, or in summer, we actually grew pumpkins. And in the fall, I would actually sell jack-o'-lanterns, pumpkins for Halloween. And actually, I had to did it all myself, did all the sales and the marketing. And then I thought I had this dream of being an accountant. So the entrepreneurial thing kind of went off to the side and on down the corporate road of being a corporate accountant. And then one day I wasn't. So the day before my 41st birthday, we used to say we were like downsized, right-sized, outsized, fired. And it was a big wake-up call because I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have multiple sources of income. You know what I did have, Nancy? I had I had a separation, I had a mortgage, and I had two young kids, and I was looking back, I was burnt out as well. So I was like, wow, that's more than a trifecta. You would not be. I was not in a good spot. But then a friend of mine actually introduced me to surprise, surprise, to network marketing. And I'm like, oh, those pyramid things, right? Those pyramid things. And then I realized it's like, no, it's a home-based business. And then I got introduced to personal development. I'd never heard of like Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar or Les Brown. None of that. I never grew up with that. And then I met a gentleman that showed me the advantages of having a home-based business from taxes. And then it was all over. It was all over. Down the path of entrepreneurship I went, with a couple of stumbles and
As we
trips
all
along the way.
do, as we all do. That's part of our journey. And you know, what don't kills us only makes us stronger, right?
Right. Yeah. I say, and again, when that happened, I went to, as working with a personal trainer. I went there like the next day on my birthday. Didn't have a job to go to, so I went to the gym, and my personal trainer used kind of it's a piece of like Les Brown's quote. If you fall down, fall on your back. So if you can look up, you can get up, and grab yourself and get yourself up, because no one's going to do it for you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that? The only helping hand you're going to have at the end of your arm is your arm, your own, to help yourself up. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's again, and everyone we have our stories. It's just to be able to use that, not to sit and dwell in it, not to relive it, but use that as, and it's not about like revenge or like to get back at people. It's like, no, I wasn't a good employee. I didn't, I tried to work through it as a not a macho man, but as a guy, which was tried to say, I'm not going to take time off. I didn't use my EAP program. We just said, I'm just going to work through it all. I'm like, that didn't work very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And entrepreneurs are the same though. Don't kid me. It's not just in corporate.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So let's fast forward a little bit, and bring us to today. What exactly are you doing now? Who do you help? Tell us about your products and services and your business.
Yeah, and this is the fun part, Nancy. It's getting to do what we, because there's pieces that I loved. I loved people, and I still love numbers. So I help I help people like you, Nancy, the heart-centered business owner, to transform their relationship with money. Because we didn't learn about money in school. I didn't. I did, but not very well. And through my program around discovering your money story, because we all have our unique stories, but they're different pieces. And it's around, I actually have a program now about 7 steps to being financially free, but also it's also about financially awareness, because maybe some people won't actually ever reach that end goal of being financially free, but they can definitely become aware of their finances. Yeah. So the pieces, the services I do as a CPA. So it's the basic stuff, taxes, and the benefits of having a home-based business for just the tax returns. So saving people money on their taxes, discovering their story with color, and maybe we'll share a little bit of it. That's the magic. Cash flow planning, not budgeting. I did a post today. I said, I don't believe in budgeting after 18 years in corporate.
Yes.
I don't believe in budgeting. And we agree on, not about green, but we have a similar belief around cash flow planning. And I love the piece you used the other day, which is, hey, tell your money where you want it to go. Not where to go, but where you want it to go. Oh, profit first. That's really good stuff. And then it comes as a licensed advisor, it's also about protecting. Most people pay more in car insurance, insuring their car, than they do insuring their income. And that's scary.
It sure is. It sure is. It's amazing. And one of the things when you talk about your money story, people don't realize when you grow up, your family, your friends, your sphere of influence is going to determine your thought processes, and you think that's normal. May not be normal at all, but it's your normal.
Yeah.
So until you can step outside that circle and take a look and learn for some different people, that's where the growth comes in, and I go through this a lot with clients. You don't even realize till after you get to talk to, how did you grow up? Where did you grow up? All of these things build your mindset around money. And I'm sure you've, done that. I'm interested to go ahead and get story on this color thing. Share that with them for just a minute. I just found that fascinating.
All right, we'll share a little bit of it. This had to be open, always be open. So one of the calls we did, Nancy, we had a piece because it's a combination of, it is the right brand, and it's the spiritual piece. And what I realized is, like, for a couple of years, one of my mentors, she actually did a podcast show about coming out of the spiritual closet, because so often we kind of keep that piece in the closet. Let's say we have, we go to church on Sunday, or mindfulness, or you're doing meditation every morning. We kind of keep that, some of us keep that secret, and keep, like, our business is here, and then this year for me, it's like, let's just put it all together, because that's where the magic and the fun comes in. So what it is, it's actually a system, a modality out of South Africa, founded by a woman named Melissa Jolly. And then my mentor, her name's Moira Bush. No, names are names, but it's literally, it's colored water and oil in a bottle. And we played around with this a little bit, Nancy, because we asked you to say, hey, or even if the people are watching or listening, if you're listening or not watching, but I have in my left hand, I have a pure yellow bottle, and in my right hand, I have blue. And it's like, which bottle catches your eye when you think about your money? And you're like, oh, I never thought about my money in colors. And I did it with you, and you picked blue. I said, that's nice. That blue's the moon, and it's about reflective. It's also around communication, because it's the throat chakra. The throat chakra is blue. So it's how well or lack of communication when it comes to our finances. And most people talk more openly about, sex and other things than we do about our money. And that was one of my big whys, because my ex-wife and I, we didn't fight, but we didn't talk about it. Our advisor would come in, one person would be with the kids, we'd sign some stuff, and the other person would, and we never actually talked about money together. How well did that go? Not so well. Now, and then yellow, you said, when we did your life numbers using Dan Millman's, numerology, calculate your life number, you said you're actually a 1, which is like the center of the universe. I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. But you're not, but however, you're shifted, because now you're shifted, but you're always a 1, because you can't change your birthday. And the bottle is called the sun, and the sun is the center of the universe. But yellow is joy. So our money, when it comes to our money should be joyful. We should, with money we can do, but we can't buy happiness. But I forget who it says, it's right up there with air. You can, it's a lot easier to breathe. Yeah. It's a lot easier to breathe when you have some. But I ask people, what brings you joy? And most people don't know. They say, oh, it's my kids, but then they're empty nesters, or their aunt, or one of their pets, but their pet dies. And I said, what is it on the inside that brings you joy? Because my mentor works off of love, joy, and money. If you just focus on money and you forget about love and joy, the wheel does not turn. So, and it's so easy as a homework assignment. So
I think what we'll do is, I think we'll get that slide from you, and I'll add that in to this thing. That would be cool. That one you put on Facebook that had all the colors there, and let our listeners pick, and then schedule a time to be with you. Anyways, okay. I thought that was just super.
So just as a quick peek for Nancy. So Nancy truly is a 1, but she operates as a blue. She reflects the brilliance of other people.
Love that. And I thought it just pegged me exactly. So I wanted him to share that with you. And if you've never had the opportunity to hear about this, by all means, contact Dwayne and let him do one of these for you. Yeah. So what is the number 1 money habit that you want to tell us about today?
Number 1 money habit. It's interesting because I'm actually going to re-record it, but there was 10. So as a financial literacy volunteer with CPA Canada, with accountants. We go into organizations and we present. So the number one is knowing where you stand. It's so amazing that we have our virtual money, right? Like we have our, credit cards and you got stuff all, but we don't actually touch money that often anymore. And especially now with COVID, they're like, no don't accept cash. Like here in Canada, it's like, don't accept cash. And I'm like, whoa, we're really become disconnected with our money. So there's two pieces when it comes to knowing where you stand. One is your net worth. It's your measuring stick. How do you know how you've improved last year over to this year if you don't calculate your net worth? And the biggest thing is people have money in their banks and their company pensions and in the US, the 401ks, in Canada, their RSPs and their open accounts. And it's just all over the place. And unless they work with a really good advisor who puts it all together for them, they don't get it, because most advisors, you don't tell your advisor all of the stuff you have. So no one actually, very few people, maybe the 1%ers, actually know what their net worth is. So that's the first one. And number two, we talked about it. It's not budget. It's a cash flow statement to say, what are your ins and what are your outs on a monthly basis? So when something like COVID and all of a sudden you get laid off or downsized, you know how much runway you have. And the only way you have that, not with a budget, but with a cash flow plan. So those are the two. It's one thing.
One of the things that I have found, I'm a Dave Ramsey coordinator and financial coach, and one of the biggest eye openers for people is when they do that cash flow statement, they see with their money, and they had not a clue that almost $1,000 a month going out, like eating out, pizza, junk, whatever. They're like, you got to be kidding me. Or lunch, going out to lunch all the time with the guys at the office or the girls at the office, or, whatever the deal is, or even going to the grocery store, convenience store. That's a big one. Walking in, buying your gas or doing whatever and getting a soda
or the lottery tickets, right? So that's like most people, what percentage of North Americans is their retirement plan is the lotto.
You see all these, and I mean, my heart goes out, and I have to really stop and not say anything. But when I go in there and I see all these elderly people who have, I know, no money whatsoever, and they are standing in line to get those, they're hoping to win that lottery. It just breaks my heart.
Yeah. So, and you're the expert on hashtags. So I used it today. So it's so I was using hashtag find your money, because I did a post around, I'm not sure about in the US. Maybe we'll do this as a project in the US. In Canada, the Canadian government has almost $1 billion of unclaimed tax returns and government benefit checks. And they just added it. So now we can log in and you can go to a little thing called uncashed checks. A colleague of mine did it last night and she found $250. And she messaged me back. She said, thanks, so awesome. I watched your video, 4-minute video. I logged into my account and I found $250 of her own money. Just sitting there. So I started using the hashtag find your money. So where is your money going? And you're right. Where is it leaking? It's leaking to stopping for coffee, and you get another. And who is the other? I really like Dave Ramsey. The other gentleman, the latte factor, right? So it's like it's the coffees, and how many coffees? I don't drink coffee, so I try not to preach to people about that. But that's. Know where you stand.
You're right.
So important.
You're exactly right. And using cash, you was talking about nobody using cash anymore. Well, that's a problem, because like you said, if you use cash, once it's gone, guess what? It's gone.
Yeah. Hey, we'll drop a quick little tip on it. So I do this with my clients. So we say, pull out what you think you spend on a weekly basis and pull it out of the bank, and then just use that. And for groceries, not for gas, but for the discretionary things. It's for groceries, eating out, coffee, buying gifts. So we do it every Saturday. So every Saturday we stop at the bank machine, we take out $100 and we go to the farmer's market. And that's our budget for buying fresh produce and our stuff at the market. Because you could easily spend more if you just went tap, 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 but we take 100, and that's our budget. And so if we spend it, if we buy extra stuff, if we buy like treats, then there's like.
Right.
And it's a good way, because you become conscious of where's the money going.
That's the biggest thing right there. You're exactly right. And let me tell you, that works. It works. That's what I use that with my people. And you are exactly right. Boy, does that work.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the products and services that you want to offer your clients. Who is your ideal client? And what kind of services do you want to offer here today?
Yeah, so actually, it's interesting because we work with anybody. It is kind of that heart center because like, profit, but just because you're heart center doesn't mean you don't care about profits.
Right.
Because we need to make money. We're in business, and the whole
Yes.
principle of being in business is, like you said, it's to make a profit. You can just decide how you don't have to burn the environment or burn the earth to make it. So it is that heart centered, and honestly, I should, like I say, that's one of those words as an advisor would say, to be honest, because like, when am I not being honest? I work more with female. 90% of my clients are actually female. They're more open to asking
Right.
for either asking for help or asking for advice. And a lot of them are already becoming more aware in the consciousness level. No offense to the men and the listeners. We're a little bit thicker sometimes. It takes us a little bit longer. Women are ready to take on the new age, but the new economy, and they want to learn, and they're open. They want to be, and I work really well to educate them to say, hey, I don't want to just do it for you, because that doesn't really help you or me in the long run. You need to know what's going on, but you don't need to be the bookkeeper or the accountant or the insurance person in your business. But you need to understand what's tax deductible, because I'm not taking a shoebox full of receipts from you and sorting out a big mess. So it is that, and so it's the female, really it's the female entrepreneur, newer to business, who's ready. Because it's hard to you can lead the horse to water, but it's hard to make them drink. So it's someone who's ready. Maybe they've tried it a little bit on their own, but they're ready to learn a different way to do it, or they're brand new and they're just like, just tell me what to do, because that's also good. A blank slate is.
Yeah. Where they have no bad habits set up
no
already
bad
and all of
habits.
that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's good.
Those
You
things
can
are
set
hard.
them up right from the very beginning.
Yeah. And,
So we'll put your links and all those things in the
yeah.
episode so that they can contact you. Let's talk about, let's get in the trenches a little bit, and let's talk about this thing called entrepreneurship. What are some tips and advice that you'd like to give somebody interested in becoming an entrepreneur?
Understand the tax piece. So I'm based in Canada, but I'm working with a colleague in the US named Courtney Epps, and we both share the same mission, that every person, US or Canada, should have a home-based business just for the taxes. But in order to be a home-based business owner, you need to understand the taxes of being a business owner and what is tax deductible. Because I have so many clients we're going back 2, 3, 4 years because they didn't do their taxes properly. They got into business, so they wrote a book. So if you're an author, a coach, a speaker, you're in business, and those expenses that you incur to write your book are tax deductible. So the first piece is, the tip is, you don't have to become the accountant or the bookkeeper, but seek out a tax expert in your jurisdiction as well, because especially in the US, different states have different tax laws as well, right? So it's so important to work with someone who's an expert in your industry, as well as who knows your industry, who knows network marketing, who knows drop shipping, who knows Airbnbs. I have a client, and he didn't realize he had to charge sales tax on his Airbnb because it's in Canada, it's treated as a short-term rental, and therefore he has to charge a sales tax. His long-term rentals, more than 30 days, no sales tax. It's a big mess when you're trying to sort that out after the fact. So
sure is.
Taxes.
Wow.
Tax is so important.
So what is something that you know now that you wished you'd known before? So before you started business, what is some kind of advice that you'd like to share with folks?
Just go get a customer. So many experts are, I need a website. I got to get business cards. I have to get business cards, Nancy. I really need business cards. And then you find out that something like COVID happens. And how many people have like a big box of business cards sitting on their desk? You don't need business cards. It's just go get a customer. So I did this. I'm developing a new program around like money, around the mindset, and actually it's your money story. And I'm like, I started to draw it out on the flip chart. That's why I'm pointing over here. It's on the flip chart. It's just on the flip chart. I didn't record videos. I didn't go to Fiverr. I didn't hire anyone to and then I just went to a couple of people I know and said, hey, this is what would you buy it? And 3 of them said yes at $97. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good model. Okay, then there's because we come up with things that we think are solutions to people's problems, but we didn't ask them what their problem was. So how do we know what the solution is if we don't know what their problem is? It's that market research.
That's exactly right. That you spend all that money to find out that you don't even, have something that somebody wants. We think it's a great idea, but there's no buyers out there. So you are right on, hit it the nail on the head with
and
that.
Automating, like creating courses, that doesn't really help either because it's still the funnel. So great, I have this online course, I create a book, I wrote a book, got it published, and then you're like,
who's going to buy my book?
Because marketing, right? And you spent time in corporate. So I spent 18, 20, almost 20 years arguing with sales and marketing people. It's like, you got to spend money to make money. I'm like, do you? No, I don't think you do. And then I switched over because I got quickly converted when I became an entrepreneur. Like, oh, you got to spend money to make money. That's what I was always told. You got to spend money to make money. So I spent a bunch of money and I didn't make any money. And then I'm like, that's baloney. That's bull. So now I'm like, and that's where the profit first comes. Just every dollar. I told a client this the other day because we just doing her taxes. We're just doing her taxes. We're gonna get her $5,000 back on her tax return.
Oh,
and
wow.
She spent a lot of money on courses. And I said, okay, let's go in the new year, every dollar you make, tell it where it goes. And so tell 10% of it goes to personal development. And then when you've earned enough, you got $1,000, then you can go buy that next $1,000 course.
Yes.
But until you have the $1,000 in the bank, don't go because especially high knowledge people love training because they want to be gotta know more. And we're all know-it-alls, but we haven't made any money.
Right.
Oh.
You're exactly right. Love that.
Oh.
Love that.
Oh, it's good.
Okay. So do you have any special offer that you'd like to offer our listeners today?
You know what I love, sometimes it's a tear between free and making someone pay it. Because if you pay something, then you commit to it, right? So if you pay, then I've exchanged energy. What I do have is on my website, it's like a landing page website. So I didn't spend a lot of money to build it, but it works. So on my website, DwayneRichards.com, they can go and there's a training on, get this, what's your number? Everyone talks about being financially free. They go to see Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins just had his big event, right, in the last 2 weeks. And then on the weekend, 22,000 people went to his online, whatever his online event was. And they're all like, and they got pumped up and they got, I'm going to be financially free. I'm going to be financially free. And then no one told them how to calculate it. So on the training, we actually go through the 5 things you need to know or calculate to calculate what your financial freedom number is. So there's a free training. So they just have to name an email address, gives you it's a 5-minute video. And then I'll send you a template. And then we can actually walk through how to calculate your financial freedom number.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Again, his website is DwayneRichards.com, and that's DWAYNE Richards.com.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dwayne, for joining us today. We'll put your website links and everything on the episode. Folks, you've been listening to Dwayne Richards from Canada. Thank you again for being here. Join us next time as we begin to explore a little further into the wonderful world of entrepreneurship. We'll offer tips and advice on how you can build a sustainable business model that can help fund the life of your dreams. For those of you who may already be in business, we can help you discover even more creative ways to grow your business. So we ask that you tune in to learn how to avoid some of the most common pitfalls, and we'll also be answering some of your most pressing entrepreneurial questions. You can text your questions to me directly at 850-499-7149. That's 850-499-7149, and we'll answer them on upcoming shows. You've been listening to Who Wants to Be an Entrepreneur with Nancy Gaskins, where we teach everyday people how to create, fund, and live a life worth smiling and talking about. We believe the best way to do that is become an entrepreneur. So come join our tribe. See you soon, Dwayne. Thank you.
Thank you.